I'm struggling trying to figure out where to start. A lot has happened over the past 5 months. A lot. Where have you been? What happened to the videos? Barack meets Barack? Are you still working with Noah? On October 15th, this whole thing began with my first production ever, I Am Barack Schwartz. I told you who I am, where I'm from, and why I decided to start storytelling through videos about my life. My ideas turned into a brand of its own, Other Barack. If you've been watching since day one, then you know who Noah is. For those of you who don't, he's the guy behind the camera and my right-hand man who helps put these projects to life. Noah and I were going strong for a while, started the vlog, my main series Barack Meets Barack, and spent countless days preparing to film other projects and stories. But the truth is, things came up, opportunities took place, and frankly, I've been on this hiatus away from creating content and telling my story. It's been an interesting period of time, for the lack of a better word. Good in many ways, while difficult and stressful in others. But I'm back, for now. The last 4 months of 2018 were a test for me, literally. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and, well, literally. I quit my job and transitioned to every day, and I mean every day, studying and preparing for my personal training certification exam. Hard work pays off because I am now certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. It wasn't easy by any means, and I'm not necessarily referring to the study material because that was a task within itself. I'm more so talking about the mental state of mind I was put in during that period of time. I was at home, the library, or other quiet places I found from anywhere up to 8 hours a day. I wasn't working full-time and sacrificed making money to prepare. Gary Vee's content the past 5 years has allowed me to positively change my perspective on life, live on my own terms, and attempt to not judge myself nor care whatsoever about what anybody else thinks. With that being said, it still took me a while to stop comparing my situation and life circumstances. I became anxious sitting around reading a book all day, contemplating what others were doing and what I could be doing. I knew this was going to happen. I was fully prepared for it, I thought. But I'll tell you, being in the moment is a totally different vibe. I found ways to make money, create side hustles and businesses, but this period of time really tested me. Let me be clear, this is fun. Other Barack is fun. I love making videos, writing scripts, going out to film, capturing content, and editing projects. I mean, there's nothing easier than being authentic and genuinely telling my story in a creative way. But after a while, I felt isolated, alone, and very much so even more independent than I always have been. At many different points, it felt like nobody was listening. My life was consumed by this process, every day. Spending every second I wasn't doing something, scrolling through my projects, social media stats, and questioning my every move. Waking up and having this immediate pit in my stomach, thinking that the video I put out the day before didn't perform well. Anxiously waiting to see what others thought, or anxious because nobody thought anything. Here I was, completely reverting from what I've learned from Gary and trained myself to live by. This became a cycle of anxiety and felt like more of a liability than an asset. But I'm the one to blame for this, because I had too high of expectations for everything we did. That's not because of arrogance. That's because I wholeheartedly believe in and am proud of the work Noah and I do. The story of how we met, the ideas we put together, the things we've executed, sometimes it just feels too good to be true. But looking back, I was on this high and wrongfully expected all of these amazing things to happen. When something didn't meet or exceed my expectations, it felt like a failure. After a while, the content slowly decreased, but so did this feeling of failure. Makes sense, right? No content meant nothing for me to stress about. But how is it at all fair for me to feel like I failed when I barely did anything? A bunch of videos and content isn't even halfway through warm-ups when there's still a whole game to play. I was wrong for being impatient. There aren't too many things in my life which are true outlets for me. Things that make nothing else in the world matter in the moment. Absolutely nothing. Things that put a pause on time. Things that numb the world. In fact, in my life, there's really only one thing that has been this outlet I'm describing. Basketball. Basketball is the only thing that has ever allowed me to fully clear my mind and be in the moment. In the midst of all of this, it felt like I wasn't always in the moment. Stepping away from everything, stepping away from being consumed by this process, allowed me to learn a lot about myself, have experiences that I would never take back, and give me time to reflect. I live at home and not ashamed whatsoever to say it. In fact, I think it's one of the smartest things a college graduate can do. Spending time with my parents, brother, and other family and friends has given me more time to enjoy the most valuable ingredient of life. These options will not be available forever. Take advantage of what you can. I promise it will pay off. With this feeling of isolation and loneliness I described came an internal motivation to create routine and habit. There were days I had to myself, and it made me think a lot about the value of time. 24 hours in one day is not enough. It just isn't. I remember the days getting up at 10, 11, or even 12 in the afternoon and feeling like I've completely wasted everything. Today, I have a 5 a.m. alarm. Not just weekdays, every day, Monday through Sunday. I have a quick bite, then go to the gym. I have learned to create a sense of rhythm and put myself in uncomfortable situations. When you consistently put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you not only learn the most about yourself, but you overcome fear, anxiety, and create building blocks towards success. I genuinely believe that if you are not comfortable with being uncomfortable, then others who want the same thing as you will only get there quicker. I guess I was a little ignorant when at times I felt like nobody was listening. One day, I received a text message from a former high school teammate from Newton South who told me that he quit his job. Not only did he quit his job, watching my story through what Noah and I have been doing motivated him to finally make that move. A different former classmate of mine from Pomfret, Matt Clayton, also reached out to me. He wrote to me saying how closely he had been watching my content and was inspired to volunteer his time and energy in helping in any way he could. To be fully transparent with you, these 2 moments are still the most rewarding and fulfilling experiences yet. I would have never, ever guessed that creating a story around something I did myself, in this case quit my job, would have motivated another to do the same because they were unhappy and found my story as fuel and courage to take that step. And for another friend of mine to be motivated by my story to decide to volunteer his time because he believes in me, you cannot put a price on that. The entire month of January, I was in Israel. My visit was quite profound and has had a permanent impact on me. I met many amazing and important people, visited certain places for the first time in my life, and had conversations that have somewhat transformed me. There is a certain level of happiness that I have seemed to unlock after that month, and it won't be long until I'm back there. But for now, we'll save that for later. Today, I'm a trainer at a strength and conditioning facility in my hometown, helping train athletes of all levels in sports, learning more about fitness, and utilizing my certification and passion for this space every day. When Noah and I met, we planned to work together as much as possible. Barak meets Barak, grit, and so much more. Earlier I mentioned my trip to Israel was somewhat profound and that I'll be back soon. This means that Noah and I won't be together again, so I want to give you an idea of what to expect moving forward. Other Barak in storytelling is a hobby, something fun and a side passion of developing creative digital projects around my life story. We plan to take advantage of the time we have together while we are both pursuing other passions and interests that have taken precedence over making content every day. I have eliminated this feeling of isolation and loneliness and learned how to tell my story without expectations of anything in return. Let me tell you something. You never know who's listening. Whether everyone is or nobody is, there is a power to storytelling. Everyone has their own story. You own that. Nobody else. Never be afraid to tell yours. My name is Barak Simcha Glass Swartz. I'm 23 years old and trying to find myself.